Hey.
Hello. You got your light situation fixed.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with it. I keep it plugged in because it has like an hour and a half battery life if the brightness is up on it, but
Mm.
sometimes it shuts off. And then it flashes battery even though it's plugged in. And so we had just gone almost 2 hours on race brain and then it just decided it was done and it needs like 5 minutes before it'll like confirm with itself that it's not dead and then it goes again, but weird.
Why don't you let that natural light from the outdoors shine on your noggin and let it be that?
Never works the way you'd like it to.
You never get that perfect mix of sun and clouds, do you? That
Nope.
perfect gray light. It's terrible. When you try to look as good as you do, now that you're on the YouTubes every week, you got to be on.
Gotta be. And yet here I
Mhm.
am, Kirk. Sweaty running clothes. This is the closest I've ever cut an episode.
As in, what do you like? You got in the
Coming in from a run to a recording, this is the narrowest margin I've ever had. I got in the house at 12:28:25. So I had a minute and 35 seconds from the time I shut the door till the time we were going to start recording. Not
impressive.
great.
And I would say, folks listening, about every other episode, I turn it on and I can just hear Brakken chewing through my headphones because he also crammed in. I don't know what you were eating today, but it's always after I've arrived, and these microphones are sensitive. So I feel like I know what
So
it's
wet, this
like to be
chewing.
like a pizza bagel in your throat. Like I feel
Yes.
like I've experienced it with the pizza bagel,
Yeah.
audibly, at
Yeah.
least, not physically. That would be awful.
It's detailed enough that you know.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
All
Because
right,
I went to
Brack.
the trails today to do
Yeah.
some hill reps, and it started snowing on the way there, and it took 10 minutes longer to get there and 15 longer to get home, and there's my buffer. There is my buffer.
We got dumped on for the first time. We have, I don't know, 6 inches and some foot long drifts because we got some, or foot high drifts because we got some wind. That'll change things here on the county roads for a little bit.
So now I've got that winter run where post-run nose running, and my sweat's drying now, so I'm hot, but I'm about to get freezing. It's gonna be a good episode.
You have all the excuses to look terrible.
Something's got to bring me down.
So we have an episode for you today. I wanted to chat through a little something I did yesterday.
Let's do that.
Um, Today we're going to talk about our year in review, and for you at home, you should maybe think about your year in review in running and maybe life, I suppose. But before we get to that, I did something interesting yesterday, and it's not quite up and out yet, but I wanted to give it a little bit of plug because mostly it was a good time, and I think people are going to have a good time watching it. But former guest on our podcast, Alec Blennis, and one of the OGs of the Spartan, we talked about it a bit, the Spartan scene, all the way back to 2000 and what, 12, 13,
12, 11,
12.
11.
Okay, 11.
I raced against
Um,
him the first time in 2011.
okay, and he was 17, as I
Yeah.
found out. Yeah. Anyways, I got together with Alec Blennis. He lives here in Minneapolis. Lives in a real nice apartment suite with a sweet gym. Like that is for the residents. Actually, beautiful facility. I was like, "You got dumbbells that go up to 100 pounds in like an apartment gym? Like that's a legit.
Is
It's a
that
very
why he
posh
chose it?
place. And there's not many people in there for recording, but we got together and did a
I mean, is
hybrid.
that why he chose his apartment?
I think it probably was a selling point.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Him and his wife both are big into fitness and lifting shoes, and they're getting a lift on while we were in there. But anyways, we recorded for like 3 hours yesterday. Interviewed. I was there for 3 hours. We ran through a bunch of different stuff. Alex developed a huge following, like the Anti-Fragile Lifting Club. He has that channel on YouTube now. He's just got a lot of traction. Like he's like, quit being a P word. You don't need a 30-minute calisthenics warm up. Like he real talks you pretty well, and I really like his page. But anyways, he's a bit of a hybrid athlete, right? He wants to be
Mhm.
as strong as possible. He has 3 ultras on the calendar this upcoming year. Is running grandma's marathon and wants to run under 2:45 as like a strong boy. He wants to do it all. He's like the Minnesota Nick Bear, sort of, in the sense where he lifts a lot of weights and he wants to run far and hard. So we
Mhm.
got together and did a hybrid session yesterday. Um, he said, I could do whatever I want with it, but let's make sure we're sort of evenly matched, right? We both eat our slice of humble pie. And I don't know about you, but if somebody came to you, Brakken, a hybrid athlete, and said, what do you think we should do today? So we can both display our strengths and also be exposed and also teach people something, like what workout or something would come to mind to do or for you? Because I actually waffled over what I wanted to do for this.
I would go to a leg builder workout with something with ergs because I'm too weak to provide any sort of stimulus strength wise to a true hybrid athlete.
That's not true. First of all, you're much stronger than you're leading on, but
Compared to a runner, sure, but not compared to a hybrid athlete.
okay. So what would be like what would be an entertaining watch? Like what would the leg builder, to explain it to the listeners?
I'd probably have something like weighted lunges, assault bike cals, and incline running or hiking. That's how I would balance the two. I don't think flat running's fair for them, and I don't think weight's fair for me. So I'd meet in the middle of just functional power output.
Okay. So maybe they crank more cows on the assault bike. Maybe you go tit for tat on the lunges, or they cycle a little quicker, and maybe you make up ground on the incline treadmill and you
Yeah.
go back and forth. Maybe.
And it'd probably be ascending reps so that they'd crush on the first half, and then I'd make up ground on the second half when they fatigue.
Okay. So it'd be a competition slice or a workout or what?
It could even be you go, I go, but it would be something where they'd get their piece, I'd get mine, and then we'd have one thing in the middle where we should even out as we fatigue.
Yeah. I was trying to consider the same thing. So I waffled over, and that'd be a very similar approach to what I was thinking. What we ended up doing was keeping the running separate and the lifting separate, and just saying, how good are you both that's separate in a vacuum, so to speak. But
Yeah.
you remember the old workout, and I'm going to give Ryan Kent a shout out. And I really considered this one. Ryan, I don't know if you listened, but I think it was his workout. Do you remember? It's just a pure output versus strength workout. And it is a mile on the treadmill, 20 back squats, 20 deadlifts, 20 pull-ups, 3/4 of a mile on the treadmill, 15, 15, 15 of the movements, half, 10, 10, 10, quarter, 5, 5, 5. Do you remember that workout?
Not really.
It was a time trial. Men use 135 pounds. Women use, I think it was
Probably 95.
95. But so basically you run, and it's a one time, right? So you end up running, what does that come out to? 2.5 miles, I think. And you cycle through like 50 reps of these things at 135, and you get it done as fast as possible. So I thought about doing that. But I started to really think about how fast Alec would cycle on deadlifts and squats compared to me. And I'm like, I don't think I'd come out on top in this. So we didn't do that. But what we decided to do, and I'd be curious what your thoughts are, is first of all, the guy's incredibly strong for his endurance engine. I was talking to you before this, but he started out by humbling me with barbell reverse lunges. And he worked up to heavy sets at 335 pounds. How does that make you feel?
Incredibly weak. Incredibly weak.
335-pound barbell lunges. I was 185. Reverse lunges. He was cycling for 3 reps. I went for 5. We did some oblique work. And then I said, okay, we'll do 2 different things, like a run component and a strength component. And we landed on the partner 5K. How fast can we break 15 minutes in the 5K as a team? We gave ourselves about a second to hop on and off the treadmill. I mean, just as quick as we could, but there's going to be some lag there. We started at 15-minute 5K pace, 4:48 pace on the treadmill, and we switched off whenever it felt right to pull the plug. And I told you what we ran. Do you remember what we ran?
14:30.
14:30 something. And it got me thinking, like, we could have run faster. We were conservative early. How fast do you think me and you could run a partner 5K in?
I mean, it's classic me, but it depends, Kirk. The shorter you make your intervals, the faster you can run. If we ran 30:30s, we could run 4:20 pace.
I think there should be a minimum of like 60 seconds a cycle, because you switching, it takes about a half a second to a second.
At 60, I bet we could run 4:30 pace.
For sure.
And it would cost me my life.
And that would come out. And what would 4:30 pace come out to? 12, 13, like 14:0.
Yeah. 14 flat, maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, we had a good time with that. I got to work him over pretty good. I spent more time on there. He had to start reaching. It was fun to watch him really give it for a guy
Mhm.
his muscle and size. So we ran that. Then we thought, what would be the good balance between, and this is something I want to put on you guys at home. So our 5K combined was like 14:38 or something, I forget. And I know we can go faster. And then we went to the bench press, and it's 100 reps at 185 back and forth for time. Alec predicted 6 minutes. Took us 10 and a half, 10:32. Just your rest is when the other person is going. And I was reduced to like 2 reps at a crack. I think I had one set where I only had a single. And we thought it'd be so easy, but with 20 seconds rest roughly towards the end, when the other person's only hitting a few, you just don't charge up.
No
So
rest between 5K and bench presses?
we went right to, I mean, we had 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
That
Yeah.
would become a competition of keeping the sweat out of your eyes and your hands not slipping on the bar and your head not slipping off the bench.
We shared some back sweat on that bench. Yeah. It
I would
was
you'd
lathered
have
up.
to go through like a stack of towels.
Yeah, we did the 5K first. And so the challenge is you and a partner run a partner 5K as fast as possible, record that time, and then you record the amount of time it takes you and your partner to bench 185 for 100 reps, and you add them together. And what's your strong boy time plus your run time? Mash them together. That's your score. How balanced are you? You can run fast, great, but what can you do with 185 on the bar? And we decided for women, 95 pounds would have been the standard there. So that would be the only thing that would have changed. Men 185, women 95.
That's a huge disparity.
It is a huge disparity, but you had to pick something.
Why not 135?
I think 135 is the equivalent of the male 225. Anyways, so I offer you out there the hybrid humans or the strong boys and the run boys and girls. Try you'll see this video come out on YouTube, and we had a good time with it. But your partner 5K combined with your partner bench press, where do you land?
Transition time on bench would be really imposing. So you'd want to do higher reps right up into the point where you can't do higher reps. Then you'd wish you'd done lower reps.
It's exactly how it went.
Yeah.
We got to 50 real quick. And then it
But
became
eventually you're sitting there shaking your arms, knowing I can't do another rep right now.
Alec looked at me, he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna include this. And I was like, yeah, you gotta include this because we got humbled pretty good by it. Because he can rep, he said I can rep 185 for 20, no problem. And here he is down to triples, right? Like
Yeah.
that's humbling. But anyway, so you'll see it come out as a fun little thing. But it's an interesting challenge, and I want to do it again and get it right.
It's the interesting thing about hybrid athletes, that term, because in theory, a hybrid is the best combination of two things together. You get the
Correct.
strengths of both sides. And in practicality, in actuality, in the real world, hybrid is someone who's good at one thing and tries to get better at another thing.
Sure.
It is like a hybrid bike more than it is anything else, where it's pretty good on the road. It's not the fastest and it sucks off road, but it's better off road than a road bike. So it's a hybrid. That's kind of what hybrid athletes are, where strength athletes look at them and say, you're terrible. And runners look at them and say, you're terrible, unless you have a running background or a lifting background. People would look at Alec and be like, you're pretty strong. And a runner would be like, but 245s, that's not going to get you to the Olympic trials for a woman. And a runner,
Right.
so anyway, it's hybrid athlete is really strange because it's never the combination of the best of both worlds or the highest of both. There are very few people who could ever be equivalent at both, because
Right.
the equivalent 5K of like a 335 reverse lunge is faster than you or I run a 5K, probably.
I'm sure it would be like the 13 flat equivalent of a 5K.
Yeah,
The
or maybe like
1330.
1330. Yeah. So
Yeah.
whereas like your bench press equivalent of 1517 or 1516 is probably like 385, 350.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Anyway, so we almost couldn't balance each other out ever and make ourselves a true hybrid athlete. So we just have to become like a a jack of all trades, master of one, maybe.
Well, in the hybrid space, and not that this episode is going to drag on about hybrid, but is like, of course, eventually you need to combine them in a performance if you're going to compete. I need to do both the strong boy and girl things and the run boy and girl things and mash them together and be able to access a high percentage of both all at the same time. How available are they all to me when the other is taking away from the other, right?
Mhm.
At the same time, like the hybrid athlete can be like very separate. Like I want to be a gym bro and look good and be strong and have weight. And then I go run 5Ks and I run like there's the people who want like a balanced athletic approach without the competition side of things
Yeah.
too. So it's just an interesting thing because you can bro lift and you can traditional runner run separately and you could go to a hybrid race in your first crack anyways. You're probably going to have a pretty rough go,
Yeah.
but you need both separately to be good no matter what to start with. It's the skill work and the understanding of the events themselves once they're brought together that can really slap you across the face. So it's like it's a beautiful blend of fitness for sure, putting them together. The thought process was, well, of course we can put it together and we can go through a crazy high rocks metcon and we can go hate our lives and run a purposeful work to get you ready, or we can do separate things like hybrid athlete want to be strong and they want to run and we
Mhm.
chose to keep it separate. And there's really interesting ways to look at that. Build the tower separately and then bring them together, build them both
Right.
at the same time. It's just so much that can go into
Well, and then it also
it.
begs the question of, do they have to be combined to be hybrid?
Correct,
What's more
exactly.
hybrid? Like Dylan Scott at High Rocks or Miraglia going 500-pound deadlift in sub 5-minute mile? They're
Exactly.
both extremely hybrid. Do you have to combine them together to be hybrid, or is doing it in isolation and being really good at both better, equivalent? It's so subjective that everyone gets to be a hybrid athlete if they want to, but I don't think we've decided yet what the ultimate hybrid athlete looks like.
Can they be separate? Can you be like, I all that matters is how much I squat, bench, and deadlift completely in a vacuum, and then how fast I run a 5K, and being the best at both of those things in a vacuum. Like, is that the epitome of a hybrid athlete, or do you have to put them together in the same event, intermixed with running and strength or cardio and strength to be a true hybrid athlete? It's an interesting conversation.
It is. And if hybrid sports weren't a thing, the ultimate hybrid athlete would be the one who could jump into anything and do well and train any style and be effective at that training. So there'd
Yeah.
still be hybrid athletes if there weren't hybrid sports. But now that there are hybrid sports, do you have to be good at that sport to be a good hybrid athlete? Now we're just asking questions for the sake of asking questions.
But it's fun to think about, though. It's
Yeah,
just we look at it as a competition intermixed phase through our lens because that's what we coach and that is sort of our competitive world. But they very much don't need to be intermixed in the same event, I don't think, to be a successful pseudo hybrid athlete. So,
right.
anyways, should we move on?
Let's.
Okay.
From things we haven't figured out to things we have.
Ugh.
2024, our year in recap and our learnings.
Well, I feel like you have a lot more to talk about.
I thought you would have more to talk about.
Okay. What's your logic?
I've had the most useless athletic year of my life.
That's
I
harsh.
am in no better or worse fitness than I was at this point last year.
Same.
I was in bad fitness last year. I had no surgeries, yet managed to miss more training time. And I am equally fragile right now as I was at this point last year. I raced one time in 2024 and it was in January. So I have not raced in 11 months. I have strung together the least amount of training weeks or blocks since I was probably 14. And from an athletic standpoint, I have accomplished nothing this year and found nothing out about myself fitness wise or as a competitor. And that might be the first time I can say that about any single year of my life since I first
Mhm.
started competing. So, from that standpoint, I had very few experiences athletically this year. I have learnings, sure, but it was a year of 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards, arriving at the exact same point I was last year.
When
That's
you look
depressing.
at it from when you zoom way out and look at it, but the
Yeah.
learnings, in between, I would say it's probably one of the more uncovering years for you in the sense that, you muting the mic there if you're snotty. Okay. I would say I don't know. Do we learn as much in, let's end quote, the successful years as we do in the, let's call it, unsuccessful years? Is it a thing people say to just make somebody feel better? Like, I either win or I learn. Dur, dur,
Yeah.
dur. Like, is that just what we say to make people feel better, or does this eventually make you end up in a better place? Is, I guess, the question.
Yeah, I don't think the year was a loss or a waste. The year was a loss, but not a waste. That's my summary. I'm a year older. I'm no better for it physically, but I will be better for it from my learnings.
Hmm.
I didn't
I don't-
progress physically one bit this year.
Output wise, performance wise.
Yeah, or fitness. I don't think I progressed at all this year physically. I can't say that there's one thing on me right now that I am notably in better shape at, for, with, or using than I was last year in
Hmm.
December. Not one thing.
See, I think that's more conversation worthy to me, but
What's your summary?
yeah.
That's the back cover of my
Well,
book. What's yours say?
I always wonder, like, and this is not the comparative I'm making for you or nor I, but like how much football does Bill Belichick play these days? Yet he
Mhm.
is one of the most respected, I guess, could be controversial, but he's one of the most successful coaches in NFL, for a period of time, right? But like,
Yeah.
he's going to say, "Well, I'm the worst football shape of my life," but he's helping people, in a way that is now like that's where his torch has been passed, right? And that's not you, because I know we have competitive desires, but I'm saying, like, there's also the coaching side of things, which I blend into this just as equally. Things that you can learn that you can relate to athletes you're working with. Things, I don't know, on that front, like building the running public and things. I don't know. Maybe I tie it all together and I shouldn't, but it's something I think about.
You're right. And as you bring that up, I just typed in the running public into Google.
Okay.
And the first thing that comes up are Podbean, Apple, Instagram, Spotify, all that. But the tagline is two endurance athletes and coaches
Yep.
sit down to talk all things running. We bring you high level running knowledge and present it at a practical level. Of the first sentence, two endurance athletes and coaches, one of those was a lie this year. I was I was in name only an athlete. Athletes are training for something. I spent all summer not training for anything. Got to the end of that and got hurt and spent all fall not training. So it was the biggest time I've ever spent not training towards something, which is
Mhm.
one of the key components of being an athlete is training. So just I'm not trying to
Mm.
be a huge Debbie Downer, but it is the most removed from the athlete side of the sport that I have been since I started running.
Mm.
And that is a weird position to be in, especially at 37, which if you just sampled every mid to late 30s athlete on the planet and said, "Show me what your year looked like right before everything went downhill and you ceased to be an athlete," this is what it would look like. And I'm very aware of that. And I also intend that not to be the norm moving forward, but this is how the end starts. And that's a sobering thought for me.
Hmm. I get what you're saying. I didn't
I'm
realize
not
you only
looking to
can.
be coddled.
No, I nor will you be. And I also think that we could have the polar opposite conversation in this conversation next year. I truly
I,
believe that.
with all my being, hope so.
Yeah. So, um, all right. Well, I'll give a big snapshot. I'll give a quick synopsis of mine, and then let's dive into you, or we can go back and forth. We can walk through the months, or we can. I don't know
Let's.
how you want to do this. My year was interesting in the sense like, I think what keeps me coming back at this is I still haven't done what I want to do. And
Mhm.
but it's not a fool's errand for these things that I've wanted to do, meaning I literally jump up and reach for it and my fingertips touch it and I can't get it into my hands. I'm that close, right? And so I had set out to do two things, which I was able to do, which was break the master's course record at the two bigger local trail races that I run. And I was able to do that barely. I think it ended up being by like 21 or 28 seconds in a 17-mile race. I broke the master's course record at Zumbro. Um, and then I go on to attempt to break my master's course record at Afton I set last year, and I run 1 second slower. For an hour 40 of work to be 1 second away from reducing it. So the record stands from the record I sent over a year ago. Um, from there, I wanted to run a fast half, and I think I did. I'm happy with that performance, and then if I'm being honest, in hindsight, I think I made a half-assed run at breaking 15 in the 5K, relying on my fitness in quotes to do it because I put in the work in my mind, body of work, and I fell way short, 26 seconds short of breaking 15 in the 5K. And then I allowed other passions to take over and sort of maintain status quo with fitness. So not end with a fizzle because I'm very fit. In fact, I would argue I'm more fit at this time, maybe this year than last year, at least within the same ballpark. Um, but I realize if I really care and I want to talk about doing these things, like I need to make a more serious effort at racing. I don't race enough. I don't put myself in uh, risky races where I could possibly fail, which is fine, I guess, if I do. But I just don't. I don't simply chase it enough. I use other passions as an excuse to like say goodbye running and competing in August by the September every year, and the best months of the year, I basically don't
Mhm.
race. And because I love the outdoors and spending time hunting and with my wife and all of that, doing that, which we love. And so it actually feels like I'm happy with the year, but I'm very unsatisfied and more like, were you doing? Like, I believe I could have done what I wanted to do and I didn't chase it hard enough. So that's where overall positive vibes. But when it's really said and done, I left a good bit on the table.
You had a fantastic year, and you had it for 2 reasons. One is that you raced really well. The second is that this is the second year in a row that you've just been available all year for the most part,
Yep.
which was not something you said throughout your life. But, and there's a big but here, and you touched upon it. I get to play a role right now that I generally only play on coaching consults.
Oh,
And I
do I have
often
to pay
start
you
these
for this
by
or?
no, no, no. This is your Christmas gift, Kirk.
Oh my goodness.
This is it.
You're a real mensch. All right.
It's worth a lot. And I generally start by saying, listen, I'm going to just give you everything I'm thinking today.
Oh,
And if it's offensive or if it's harsh or like, I don't have to follow up with you. We're not working together as coach athletes. So it's not like I'm going to, spoil our relationship. And you can take it and use it or not. And it doesn't change me. So it's kind of freeing for me. I can just hear what they're saying and say, I don't think you're doing what you think you're doing.
uh-huh. So
I'm
you
going
could
to
like
say,
hurt my feelings and then leave.
yeah,
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 nice. Okay, yeah,
yeah. I'm
good.
really painting the picture of how I work with people. And I'm gonna do that now, if you don't mind. This is the end
Of
of the
course not.
year.
Mhm.
It's time to just hard truths. But you already aware of it because you started talking about it, but I don't think you have gone after your goals yet.
Yeah.
I really don't think so. And I say that because and I think you're aware of half of it, but I don't even think you went after the trail goals the way you maybe thought you were going after your trail goals. I think you got your trail goals because those races are so unspecific in time that with good general fitness and a little bit of specificity, you were able to be successful. And because of that success, you approach the 5K the same way. Your learning
100%.
from the trail race was global fitness gets me there and I'll sharpen a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you look back at your prior successes, college track, I would say your Spartan World Championship in Lake Tahoe when you took 11th place, you got real specific for a long time.
Yep.
And then you learned from it and got more specific from the learning for even longer. And then you eventually had your big breakthroughs. And you haven't done that on the track since leaving college.
I've been a generalist.
Yeah.
I mean, in the most specific way, I've still been a generalist,
And
and
it
I
works
you're
for the trails.
it does. I mean,
If they were as defined as the 5K was, I don't think it would because you've fallen in love with something. Being real preachy here. And the
mm,
thing you are most in love with running right now is running moderate to fast on the road in alpha flies.
I do enjoy that.
That's your favorite singular thing to do, and you do more of that than anything else outside of just
I have
aerobic
deviated
runs.
from I have used other shoes here recently, but yeah, I mean, I still really enjoy that.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
And it helped and it got your engine big enough that you were able to use your athletic skill set and your historical experience of running to do
Mhm.
well on the trails.
Yeah.
But I think it's I'm sorry, Colleen, I think it's shit or get off the pot time. And that's usually
Oh,
reserved for people who aren't doing anything, and that's not you. You're doing a lot. But I think you're retreading the waters that you don't need to be in. I
well, and
think you need to do track.
I agree with you, and I don't think you couldn't come to that conclusion until this year has come, gone, proved itself,
Correct.
right?
I'm not withholding this.
And my feelings are not hurt at all. And the conversation's been cycling through my own
Right.
brain. So this isn't people at home. I'm smiling through this. This is exactly what my own internal dialogue has been. So I agree with you. It's just you say I won overall both of these races. I set the Masters course record, and I won
Mhm.
Zumbro by 9 minutes and Afton by 6. And I set course records for Masters. Right? Like you look at it, well, yeah, he's fit enough to go. I just thought the body of work would warrant me with a little specificity
Mhm.
running what I believe to be, again, an arbitrary 15-minute flat number 100% by not slapping, because I put together very purposeful lead ins, but it's just like Bracken, you could train for a year for the mile, a year, and go out and race it. And I am telling you, you will not run your best that first race, no matter what.
No, of
You
course not.
need multiple cracks at it. Your fitness could all be there. You think you're dialed. What I'm trying to do in the 5K isn't hey, let's run one Tracksmith Twilight 5K in August at 10 p.m. at bedtime and think that I am going to magically will my way to 15 minutes. Like that sort of stimulus when you're trying to really reach your ceiling needs multiple attempts in close proximity to feel the race, to understand it, how your fitness ebbs and
Yeah.
flows with it. And I haven't done any of that.
Yeah.
I haven't done any of that. So I am just going to double down on what you said in agreement. Um, all of that to say, I'm very happy with where I'm at, but I didn't chase it
Yeah.
hard or with purpose. So you're right. You're right.
And I say it because you know it. If I didn't think you knew it, we'd be talking offline. But you know these things and you already alluded to it, but I ran sub 420 in the mile exactly one time indoor in college. And I think the equivalent every single time outdoor.
Oh,
Even when the conditions were bad, and I'm a proponent of the idea that indoor track is as fast or faster than outdoor,
I
all
agree.
things being equal. From the
Yeah.
from the mile up
Your perfect
because
conditions every time.
conditions are perfect. But I never ran faster indoor than outdoor, save one event, and it's simply because it took from indoor to outdoor to get dialed in on how to run fast every
Yeah.
single season. Even my 5th year of college, I ran that was the only time I broke 420 indoor, and that was at the
Mm,
conference meet with studs to chase. Like, you haven't been at the conference meet with studs to chase as your 6th event of the year. You've been at the conference meet with studs to chase as your debut.
correct. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that you next year, this conversation looks a lot different if your big goal race is your 5th race, temperature controlled.
There's no argument for. I mean, I just got a beautiful pair of Hoka track spikes in the
Mhm.
mail yesterday. Like, I'm in pre-contemplation or whatever's past that, of course. I think the interesting thing about it, is first, I do have grandma's marathon on the calendar, which is going to take a big focus. And what if that goes well, that could that holds a lot of weight for me, right? I think so. There's that, but for some reason, like if you want to chase a fast USATF certified 5K, well, if it's done on the roads, you have turns and hills and things, and there's some flat courses out there, or you have the track. Well, it's like, does this silly from afar pursuit at 41 years old, I'll be 42 in May, to go like fly across the country to chase 5Ks on the track like anybody would do at the Spartan scene, or go chase world like marathon majors. Is that where I'm at? Being like, hey, the Masters Championship down in Georgia is in March. Do I go run the track championships for Masters
Yes.
athletes down in Georgia? Do
Yes.
I sneak into my alma mater's DMs and say, hey, can I get in unattached into the collegiate track meet in February?
Yes.
Am I getting on planes, right, to do this at this point? Or do I take my few shots I have out my back door, right? You get what I'm saying? So like, it's like,
Yeah.
it really is a commitment for me. And the truth is I'm scared because has the window passed? Do I actually have the ability and fitness to do this? Is it going to be even more of a disappointment if I travel 5 times throughout the year to run on the track and run 15-11 and that's where it ends up? Like, or do I have to scratch it no matter what? And so those are things I think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are great things that everyone needs to hear. But I am firm in my belief that failing is way less painful than not knowing.
True.
Looking back with regret is destructive. Looking back upon failure and being able to say, listen, I found out. I sent it. I committed to it. I sent it again and I
Mhm.
came up short. Well, at least I know.
Yeah.
And then you're at peace because what more could I have done? And you pursued your Spartan dreams with flights.
Yeah, it's true.
What are these any different? I don't think we're in the business of ranking goals.
But
A
yeah.
goal is a goal, and it deserves to be pursued as such. Whether a mile or a 5K matters to the outside world or not doesn't matter. If it matters to you, I think you pursue it appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's just an interesting place to be in. It's not an accessible. I'm not chasing something that's terribly accessible, or easily accessible.
It is a great place to be in because you are at an advanced level where I'm doing the things most people would be super pumped to do, but I have something crazy I want to do, and it would take a little bit of craziness to accomplish. Like
Yeah.
where I'm sitting right now, I can't contemplate that. At the end of next year, I want to be where you are right now, where you're like, I can do all this global training and get really fit doing it. And I can go out and run races and I feel like a monster. And maybe I'm not at my fastest at any one thing, but I can just go out and run whatever I want and have success. That is the dream for me. And you're already in it, which means the next dream becomes the chase.
It's true. I think when people like we have a running podcast and we talk about running far too much. I mean, we talked about running for I don't know how many hours at this point. We're going to be
Well,
in a
we said I lied for 2.5 hours. I mean, 2.5 days worth of lying.
yeah, we did. Um, that's a reference to the Ian Hosick episode. But we're gonna hit year 5 in January. Is it? I think
Yeah.
5 years in January.
Mhm.
Tens of thousands of hours at minimum, right? Of this. And the thing that is the truth for me, and this has become apparent these last 2 years with, let's say, falling short at chasing the 5K, is it's not my life. Like I think it is half of our listeners. I find fulfillment in who I am as a human being far beyond what happens running. I care about it a lot. And I spend a good amount of emotional energy on my running,
Mhm.
but I was just as happy to run 15:26 and then go play in the woods in quotes for 2 to 3 months and feel satisfied. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my well-being doesn't hang on my running performance at all. And I
Yeah.
mean that. I'm not trying to skirt around, like make it sound like I have this easygoing relationship with running, because it's not always perfect, but like I have, and most of you listening do as well. And this is, I think, part of your, in quotes, problem this year is your family and the racing and other things that you love and fulfill you outside of running. So you can be content if you fall short of your running goals, because you have so many other things in your life that bring you joy. And for me, I have those things as well. And I'm not obsessed. And I'm obsessed about other things, honestly, probably deer hunting more than running, to be honest, at this
Mhm.
point in my life. So what I'm getting at is, when we have this serious conversation about, are you really finding out who you are, Kirk? And are you being honest with your efforts at your sub 15 5K? You can say no, you're not, and it doesn't hurt my feelings, because then I'm spending that energy on other things that bring me joy as well.
Right.
But if I really want to put my money where my mouth is, and I do, I can't I can't be so diversified if I want to achieve that.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. Running
Yes.
is directly linked to your happiness and self-worth. Performance is not.
Correct. 100%.
But
Is that
there's
the same?
one last component.
Okay. We're gonna turn this on you shortly, so
Yes, and I hope that it's every bit as illuminating and invasive. But the last component is that your time clock is ticking. Your fastest time, your sub 15 matters a lot to you, but it doesn't define you, it doesn't matter. But what if
Hmm.
it does next year or the year after? You're at the point where your running is not going to fade anytime soon, but your highest, sharpest end is going to, and we don't know when.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
And
sure it already I'm already at a percentage of
right, like
max.
you're
Yeah.
certainly down in your 400. And you're certainly
Yeah.
down on your 800, and you're certainly down on your 1500, but we don't know about the 5K yet. We
Yeah.
don't know. Ceiling might have lowered. We're not sure. You never hit your ceiling, but it's going to at some point. And if that doesn't coincide with when you want it, you might miss your window. And
Yes.
so I think that the current year is always your most important year. If you are an athlete who's trying to run their fastest at a short distance event, who is over the age of 30, the
Yeah.
current year
Yeah.
is always the most important year. And so even though hunting matters more to you next year than the 5K does, you're going to be able to hunt your entire life. You're not
Yeah.
going to be
It's
able to
true.
5K PR your entire life.
Yeah. It's so true.
You're going to be
It's
able to
so true.
marathon PR the year after, and the year after, and the year after.
The logic is sound.
What you do
That's
with
it.
it is entirely up to you because it's your happiness.
And it's always hindsight, right? Like, and
Yeah.
what a privileged position to be in,
Mhm.
to have things I love that are of multiple facets, and to be in a position to pursue, I consider both or all things at a high level, right? But when whether it could be any goal that's really lofty and that's a reach, like I don't know, I don't think you can go 95% in. Even 95 isn't going to get you there if you're truly making goals that are big, scary, potential, but not certain. Like 95%, that what can that do? That can make me win a trail race. It can make me set a master's course record. But can it make me do the thing that requires 100% of my attention?
Right.
It's interesting. Okay, well, before we just keep going down that rabbit hole, uh, so you,
Yeah.
so
Turn the
you,
spotlight on.
it's on. You have your beauty light on. So more like, okay, so you said big picture, you're about where you were last year at this time,
For the most part. There are a
for
few
the most part.
places I am better, and a few places I am worse, but I think it evens out.
Okay, I don't want to make this like too serious of a conversation, because I don't think it needs to be. To be honest with you,
Okay.
I no, I really don't. My curiosity is, with fitness this year for you, was it, and say it without feeling like you need to answer correctly. What percentage of where you ended up right now today is due to lack of commitment versus circumstances? Basically, facts or excuses, right?
100.
100 what?
100%. It was decision.
You had multiple injuries.
Yeah.
You had I don't think you're giving those enough credit. Where you were
I
seriously concerned you might have been in trouble twice this year. I know you were like, this might be it." So you have to remember those things. You were making smart decisions along the way.
I do, but the decisions that led up to that point are why I got hurt.
Explain.
Because I let piddly things go intentionally because it didn't matter to me and things
Mm.
atrophied and got hurt.
You
So
believe
the
that?
injury happened,
Hmm.
but it's almost all these things were able to, if you look back, you could see like, if you had just done X, Y, and Z for the last 16 months straight, none of this would have happened. But you didn't care enough to do those things. And this is,
Mm.
you reap what you sow. So by correlation, I'm saying the situation I'm sitting in right now is 100% my fault. In the past, the meniscus, the hernia, like those are flukes, those are freaks. The things that happened this year look like fluke or freak things, but they happen because of weakness that I chose to have. I
Hmm.
didn't tear my meniscus because of a weakness I chose to have. This stuff happened because I wasn't in very good all around fitness and
Uh,
health. And I tried doing things that that body part wasn't ready for.
okay. This isn't like an extreme ownership situation right now, is it?
No, I mean, I've said it several times in the last month. I've had a lot of time to think through these things, not running for 7 weeks. I
Yeah.
have so many holes in how you should even just stay healthy and exercise that I've willfully let go and allowed to open up. It's just this is the consequence of that.
We're sitting here talking, like you've gained 50 pounds, you can't run a mile, and like everything, and you can't even you can't bench press your own weight. But in reality, like the standard we're talking about, folks, is so much higher than like your average person walking down the street standards.
Yeah.
Correct? You are fit generally. You are healthy
For a human, I'm
generally.
in great shape.
You're in fantastic shape. Right. So let's not paint like this other sort of picture, but when you're talking about high output, sustained performance, you didn't do the things you feel like you need to do in order to build that fitness.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that I have found drives me nuts the most. It's not being fast. It's not competing. It's having to say no because I know I'm not ready or able to.
Uh,
That's the thing that kills me. Where I look back and say, had I just done this minimal thing every single day, I could at least say yes to these things. And now I have to look and say, well, I'm not going to sign up for that race because I would suck at it. Or I can't sign up for that race because honestly, I don't think it's smart. I would hurt myself. Or I can't sign up for this because I'm going to be so slow. That's not even going to be fun for me. I need
mhm.
6 months or I need 6 weeks. I cannot stand, I don't need to do the things, but I hate having to not do them. I
Yeah.
don't have the choice right now to go out and just what you have where you could if someone invited you to any competition under the sun, you could go out and say, "Yeah, I could get through that. That'd be fine. I could go work pretty hard at that." I can't say that. And
Mm.
I truly despise that about myself right now.
That's fair. That'd be frustrating to like, I can't because I don't have a choice, right?
Yeah.
I
I
could if I
want to
wanted, I
because
just
I
don't
don't
want
want to.
to.
I want to
Yeah.
skip it because I don't want to do it, not because I can't do it.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, I just wonder how many people listening like that is relatable to. I think, like when we were talking about just here a moment ago about myself, like I'm doing 95% of the things right, right? I'm not, there's 5% I'm missing. I argue
Mhm.
everybody listening right now to this is somewhere between me and you, most likely,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like we're having more of like a reality check conversation about like for me, I had a great year. I had a good year, but I want it great. Right? And
Yeah.
there's many people who are listening to this wanting to get their wheels under them or struggling on an injury cycle or just aren't perfect. They just are flawed
Mhm.
human beings like we all are. Anyways, so I just like want to reiterate we look at this through the lens of
Yeah.
knowing we're reaching our ceilings, right? Knowing that we're actually finding out what we're made of. And I've come 95% of the way there, but not the 5, let's just say, in the 5K in particular. And you feel like you're not even close to finding out what you're capable of right now because you haven't set yourself up to do so.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So that's right.
Just to put numbers on it, you're in a place where you've run 15, 20 ish, plus or minus 5 or 6 seconds a couple times, and you want to be at 15 flat.
3 times.
The next race I run is going to be a mile, not a race, but I have to break 5 still this year to keep my dunk and mile streak
Oh.
going. Dunk a basketball, run sub 5 in a mile. I still have to break 5. I'm going to target 450 right now.
Didn't you wait till because you were coming off a surgery like the last couple days of the year, one of these years?
2 years ago, I did it on December 31st.
Because you were coming back from injury and you weren't even
I
sure if you
hadn't
could.
run outdoor yet until that run. I hadn't run below
Oh,
10% incline until that run. And I
you like
ran
to cut it
450.
close.
So like this year, I'm like, I could probably go run 450. So that's my number. Whereas 2 summers ago, I ran 430. So
Yeah.
I'm the same number of seconds off of my goal as you are. And mine's a 1 mile, yours is 3 miles. So it's just like put in perspective. No, I'm not in bad shape, but I am very far away from the point where I would like to be. I want to get to the point where I can say yes to things. Even if I don't say yes to them, I want to be able to. So just putting some metrics on it, that's where I sit.
Well, we talk about the conversation of joy. Me saying if I don't run 15 in the 5K, like the day after I misfire, a pretty good day still. Like it's okay. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's my problem, right? Maybe that is the problem is like I feel okay no matter what about myself. You get what I'm getting at. So
Yeah.
my question for you is then you went on like a 2 or 3 week stretch where you didn't do jack and you just let Braden, your son's karting,
Mm-hmm.
be the reason you didn't train, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I'm being honest when I say these other things bring me as much joy. I could be lying a little bit to myself. I have to figure that out. But what about you? Like the non-running stuff. Like if we look as like how was Brakken's year as a human being, right? Or when you factor in the non-running stuff, like is it an even trade as far as satisfaction? As far as you get what you get what
As
I'm
far as
asking.
satisfaction, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. It has been a year of growth for me as a person in other areas. I've acquired a lot of new knowledge and skills this year, and that is very satisfying. My
Okay.
enjoyment of those things is not the same because it's not my passion.
Yeah. That's
I'm
fair.
happy in life. I've progressed as a person. I have regressed as an athlete, which makes me less happy about myself as a person.
Well, your pinnacle as an athlete was far higher than my pinnacle as an athlete because you were a professional, sponsored, paid celebrity in your realm for a short window athlete. So your marker is you are so far from that right now, of course. I mean, just with the protein dissolving or not making it and then
Mhm.
being where you're at, like your pinnacle's higher than I would know. I got like free race entries for a couple of years. that's where that's where I landed.
Mhm.
So what I'm getting at is like you have a pretty high bar to compare to, right? Like that will probably never see the light of day again.
Yeah, and I was fortunate, I've said this before, I was fortunate that the knee surgeries hit when they did because I got to come to grips with that before my prime left. So I got to the point where like I don't need to do the best thing I can do at the best level I can do it to have a sense of self-worth or pride. For a long time, if I wasn't competing at a high level, that was it. That's all I cared about. I don't need that anymore. I'm now reduced to the point of like in terms of goals of I want to be able to try.
Yeah.
If something excites me. If something pops up, I want to be able to say yes to it or say no to it and I'm in the driver's seat. So no, you're correct in that my ceiling will the thing that I did at the best, I will never get back to that.
I don't even
But
think
that
it's an option for anybody right
but
now.
that's okay. I'm okay with that. And I can say that with like I would pass a polygraph on that. I don't need to get as good as possible at Spartan race or mountain running or whatever it is I was doing. That's fine. But I want to be able to compete at whatever excites me without fear that I'm going to miss another 2 months afterwards because it wasn't smart to even try.
Yeah, I
Like
get
if I
it.
race one time next year because I don't find a single event that doesn't conflict with one of my kids' competitions or nothing excites me, but I could have if I found one, then I'm a happy man.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is weird, right? Like I just need to be able to say no on my terms and then I'm fine. Well, what there's not different than saying no on someone else's terms, but it is to me.
I have some advice on all this,
Okay.
but I'm not going to give it to you yet because I have an important question.
Are you going to give it to me today though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm gonna leave you hanging for sure for like years. Um, I ask myself this question from time to time. I should think about it. You've mentioned that you have gone from more like an athlete to more of a coach. Let's just say like
Hmm.
somewhere in there, I was athlete Bracken and now I'm coach Bracken.
Hmm.
And I ask myself the same, like, am I athlete Kirk or am I coach Kirk, so to speak? Um, Barring your income would stay the exact same, no matter what your answer to this is, would you sacrifice coaching for the next 5 years to pursue your own athletic pursuits, but knowing you're giving up that side of your life? Or would you choose coaching, knowing that you will not compete again for the next 5 years? You're going to make the same money no matter what, same time investment no matter what. Basically saying, how important is my own athletic journey compared to now grooming others? What
Mm.
makes you more satisfied?
Well, I'm a groomer.
Yes, with the eyebrows. I don't know.
I, I don't know.
If you, if I had a
I
gun
mean,
to
if
your
I'm
head,
being totally honest, I love playing sports. So I would choose selfishly if nothing mattered, if
this
I
isn't
could provide
selfish.
for my family
Yeah,
by playing a sport rather than sitting in front of a computer, I'm going to choose the sport
I'm
every
not
time.
saying you're making your money at this sport, but I'm saying
You said the money wouldn't change.
you're going to make money, but you'll spend the same amount of time working.
Mhm.
But you're working doing something else.
Yeah, I'm going to choose sport.
You would, okay.
Yeah, yeah, in terms of just being alive as a person, being outside training or indoor training is going to light me up more than sitting in front of a computer. As
Well, you
much
can
as I
still
love
train. You
coaching,
just aren't pursuing your own, like in that way, right? You gave up on it. Yes, now I'm Bracken the exerciser and coach.
yeah, I'm going to choose pursuing sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, well, that's what I'm asking. Like, do you get enough satisfaction out of the coaching side of your life now
Yes.
where you can be content with that? Or the own personal pursuits still hold enough weight, more
Okay.
weight?
I'm answering it incorrectly. I was thinking lifestyle.
Uh,
I'm choosing exercise over computer screen. The worst part of coaching for me is the computer.
it's all we're on. We're on our computer.
Right. If I could just
You
remove the computer screen from my life, but in terms of what do I get more satisfaction out of, what do I need more? Yeah, I'll keep me coaching. I don't need to compete. As long as I get to train and exercise and be healthy and happy and I could compete, give me the
Mm,
coaching.
okay. That yeah, you answered that more correctly with your explanation. That's what I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
wondering.
No, I,
I
I truly, truly, and people who know me probably won't believe me. I truly don't need to race. And I've said it 10 times already. I just want the option to physically. But I also
that
know me. And once I have the option to physically, I may be incapable of not signing up for things.
yeah.
So even though the thing that is important to me now is getting to the point where I can say no to it from a place of confidence, that place may never exist because I won't say no.
Yeah. Okay. I'm following.
So,
Well, you just said you like there's going to be a point in how many professional athletes career you look across the board. Uh, peop, Ex players going into broadcasting or opening foundations or starting grooming type training facilities for younger athletes. Or, I mean, how many, mostly because they financially don't need to, but professional athletes like go into insurance or something
right.
as a second career. They usually find a way to groom others in their profession without them
Yeah.
being the professional anymore, right? And at some point, there's going to be this torch passing, whether it feels ceremonious and official or it's like, hey, I guess a coach is the headline
Yeah.
now. Who is
Yeah. That's my
Bracken?
headline.
Right. Okay.
Here's the best way I can explain it. For the vast majority of my life, when I'd watch anyone that could be considered a peer or a contemporary or even above me or below me. It wouldn't matter. If I watched an event that was a part of my sphere, when I watch someone do something incredible or win or have a comeback or anything, my overriding emotions would be getting pumped up to go do it myself and jealousy of their success.
Mhm.
I would always think, "Oh, I wish that was me," or "Why them?" Or I don't get that part anymore. When I watch it, I now think I get pumped up to wanna go, like, train or write that plan. How could I get someone else to do that? Or how would I have attacked that course? But I never once anymore get jealous of their performance. So I know for a fact because of that, you can't control that emotion when it comes up. When you see someone to do having success at the thing that you do, if jealousy pops up, it means you care about it and you want that. I don't have the jealousy part pop up, and I had it for decades. Every
Mhm.
OCR athlete that won a race I wished I had won, I'd be jealous of. Even if I liked them, I'd think, "Oh, I wish that was me. I hate that success for them. I want it." But what I get jealous of is that they got to do it.
Ah,
Think, "Oh, I'd like." Sometimes I see them win and do the course, and I think, "Oh, I'd like to go race that course." I don't think I want that post-race interview with the glorious spotlight on me. That never crosses my mind anymore. It's that course looks like something I would love to do.
so do you think God, jealousy has such a negative connotation to it, like, it's just a word in
Yeah.
general?
And I
But
was pretty
it's
negative, honestly, about those things.
no, I think it's actually a great barometer of how much you care
Yeah.
about something. If you see somebody else stand on top of that age group podium, for example, and you're like, "God, I wish that was me," or "I'm jealous," that's a good indicator you care a lot about that, and that is a worthwhile pursuit.
Yeah.
I agree. I think you can have a very worthwhile pursuit without jealousy, but I think I'll be honest, I feel it
Yeah.
when I see others perform well. I see, and this is a weird thing, is I feel it when I watch hybrid results come in, and I've never raced it. I see Rich Ryan run 54 minutes, and I feel jealous, and I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I could see somebody run a fast mile or go win a trail race, maybe because I've done some of those things already. It's just interesting where it strikes, and what does that mean? I've always been like, "Why does that matter? Why does that
Yeah.
how I feel about that?" Which
And I
means I
think
must
it's the
have some
purest
association with it.
I think it's
Yeah,
the purest indicator of what you want is when you have jealousy of others.
because you can't help it.
You can't. It's just a reaction.
Isn't that
And
interesting?
there's positive jealousy and negative, and I think I skewed negative.
Mm,
One time there was a friend of mine who at the race, won a lease of a truck for the year. And I thought he had won the truck. I just saw the post. And I was not excited for him at all. I was sick to my stomach that I didn't go to that race and try to win that. I did not want him to have that. I wanted it.
uh,
There was no
yeah.
dichotomy there. I was fully negative, and that's not healthy. But I don't even have a glimpse of the jealousy part for the performance anymore. It's for the
Yeah,
option to be out there.
that makes sense. And mine would be simultaneously. I wanted to high
Yeah.
five and celebrate somebody else, his great performance, but at the same time, be like, really would be nice if it was me.
Yeah.
Like, so it can be both. It can be healthy and it can be unhealthy. I agree with you. All
Yeah.
right. So, if we're going to summarize the year, then
Mhm.
you fell short
Yeah.
of discipline on the
Yeah.
discipline front. And then the next
And just
question you have
kinda
to,
like the give a damn front.
right. And then the next question you have to ask yourself, is that for a reason? Meaning, there's less love for it or less passion for that because your passions have spread wider to other things, or there's just like a loss of focus that you absolutely plan to get back. That's really what you have to ask yourself,
Yeah.
right?
It almost felt like freshman year going out to off in the world, and you gotta like try some stuff and go that's what it felt like I was testing out
Yeah.
middle age. I was testing out just like letting it win and being like, "I'll just do the other things." And I didn't like it. It was seductive. We talked about it's a slippery slope. I got used to it easily, but I didn't like it. I got complacent quickly, but I didn't enjoy it. And I like abhorred the inability to do the things I wanted to do. The loss of fitness was so disgusting to me. Like people talk about like their body image. I had fitness image. I was disgusted by what I had allowed my fitness to slip to, not the
Yep.
body changes, which is, I think, illuminating about who I am as a person. But no, it wasn't for me. I saw how it could become me, and I didn't like that.
Lisa ever chime in on this?
A bit.
Do you and Lisa, like me and Jess, my wife, she really doesn't ask questions about it. We rarely chat about it. It's like it's not really a part of our daily conversation. Like I go get my run in. Do you have a good run? Sure. Did you have a good run? No. Okay, that's all right. What are we doing the rest of the day? Like we don't dwell on the fitness side of things. And Jess doesn't
Yeah.
like to be asked really about it because she used to run a lot and be kind of a high performer. She's podiumed in Spartan races
Mhm.
before in the elite level. And she's just like, I just want to work out and hopefully be a mom. Like someday she's at that phase, right? Like everything else doesn't take my emotional investment. So I don't get pride about this stuff at all. She she is happy to for me to do whatever, and I genuinely believe that. And her and I are lucky enough to have the other passion, which we spend a lot of quality time together doing, which is the outdoor stuff. So I'm curious, like, does Lisa have thoughts on this for you? Is what I'm getting at.
She talks with me about it, but she is so supportive that she oftentimes just, like, asks questions to get me to talk my way through it.
You're good at that,
She
by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the probably how work through it best. I'll talk out loud to myself on long runs to work my way through things. The very first fight we ever had as a couple, I went out for a cut down 9 miler and just, like, talked internally and out externally the entire time when we were in
Mm,
college. That's always my way. I just talk through it. But she she knows all of these things, and
of
she
course.
doesn't give me a ton of opinions about it because she knows I'll come to what I'm going to come to. And she does give opinions, but it's not like how I said, "Kirk, here's what I think you need to hear." She's few and far between with that. If she's doing that, you know it's a problem. Like, she's thought about it for months, and now
Okay, sure.
she gives me the chance to work through it myself.
Which is fair when it comes to something like this.
If it
Unless you
were a
wake up
life
every day
issue,
and
she'd
yeah.
tell me right away.
Unless you're, like, waking up every day and you're just a crab ass and it's, like,
Right.
obvious it's affected you on a cellular level, but it hasn't, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is, we're, this episode comes out we're recording early, but this is between Christmas and New Year's, I believe this is dropping, so, like, what is your intention then next year? Do you have any? I have thoughts.
Yeah. In the I said I am ahead in some spots. The place I'm ahead of is where my momentum's currently headed. Last year at this time, I was watching a few things on my body and unsure of how I should progress. Right now, I am progressing. Like, I finished up my second hill workout of the week today, right before we recorded, and they've all been 60 to 70% hill workouts. Like,
Awesome.
today was 4 by 6 minutes uphill. The last one was 8 by 300. Like, I'm just keeping myself to manageable, intelligent, safe bites, and I'm taking the bites as often as possible. And we talked about that 3 weeks ago, and I'm still doing it. Like, I have 3 weeks of momentum here. I've been in the low to mid 20 miles per week. That's more than I was running this point last year. And that's going to set me up for 30 and then 35 and 40. So I have a sequential plan of how to progress up through to be doing the same thing a year from now, but at 80 or 90% workouts, just to get to the end of the year and have options to do what I want to do. That's the entire plan. And if things manifest early, jump into them. Sure. But I just want to get to a place where every part of my body is pulling its weight and I don't have concerns.
Okay. I don't know if are you ever gonna officially know when that's happened?
No, no, it's just one day it's kind of like fitness. One day you're just running and you pop a run. I think it's going to be like that. One day
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I think I'm ready to go run this 4 miler that this local trail race puts on. And then I'm going to jump into something. And then I think it's just going to be gateway drugs, really. One's going to lead to the next.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of other pursuits in life that feel this way to others, but I don't know anything in my life in which mentum curates more momentum. And just simply getting the ball rolling is so difficult. It's almost like you're pushing it uphill to start.
Mhm,
And somewhere it finally starts to crest the hill and it becomes manageable. And then it starts to go downhill in a good way, where the
mhm.
keeping it rolling feels effortless
Yeah.
because it's you've earned that right. You worked so hard to push the ball up the hill. You spent time on the peak for a little while, kind of muddling through things, and then suddenly it opens up, right? And it becomes
Right.
sustainable. I can't keep this ball rolling. I'm pushing it up the hill. I'm hurting. I'm injured. I'm tired. I'm not where I want to be. And it's so much work, so much work, so much work. And then eventually, and I describe it sometimes like for those who don't understand running, like I'm not that far off when I say when things are going well, like I go out for a recovery run and it's the equivalent of my mom going for a walk to me. It's that sort of, it takes nothing out of me. There's an
Mhm.
enjoyment process. It doesn't feel taxing. It becomes you're in motion without even with very little effort. But it takes so long to get to that point, and there's so many reasons to not do that because it's so uncomfortable in route. And so, point being is like the ball is still being pushed up the hill for you a bit, right? Like it's just like the where you're at.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
No, just yeah, that's exactly it. But
Okay.
it's starting to change slightly.
Yeah.
Like I went from 12 by 400 for 2 weeks to 14 by 400. Now this is my second week of that. And the 14 by 400 feels better than the 12 by 400 did. I went from 6 by 3 minutes up to 8 by 3 minutes. Now 8 by 3 minutes, I'm more recovered from than 6 by 3 minutes. So it's starting to show the progress. And I just said it earlier in a call with someone, but like action begets more action.
Hmm.
Momentum begets more momentum. It just once you do something and you start to get that first hint of it, then you get excited to do more.
Now you don't want to risk injury, of course, but so if I were to offer suggestions, and this is purely on the momentum front, it's purely off of my own personal experiences coming back from injury in particular. Um, and I'll preface it with saying, like, I had I don't remember which one of my many injuries this was over the years, and this is before you and I knew each other. And I was 3 runs back to running. I think I actually just lifted for like 8 weeks with a tibial stress fracture I didn't do any cardio. I just didn't want to. I was uninspired.
Mm-hmm.
Mid 20s, let's say mid 20s, late 20s. Anyways, and I went home and an old high school buddy was like, "Come run the UWGB 5K. It's fundraising." And he was still in college. He is for our fundraiser for the cross country team. Like, come out run. I was 3 runs back. And I remember running hard the day I got the message, and the 5K was the next day. And it was like my third, right? And I was like, oh, like everything in me says, don't do this. Like, you know how bad this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, gosh dang it. Fine. I'll go pay the fee and go do it. And my ego's so large, and I knew it was only going to shrink after this event. And it did. And I ran like 17:38. And it was horrible. I mean, it was so painful. And the kid that won ran 15:50, and I was light years behind. I was like, what am I doing? I'm such a POS. And it sucked, and I hated it, and it felt awful. And it didn't get much better from there. But I jumped in to a safe. I still didn't rush my process back. I was running 3 days a week. I think that 5K might have been my longest run up to that point, right? I stayed on it. I said, you know what? I'm going to run into the Rainbow Classic 5 mile 3 weeks later. And then I'm going to do this. And I got my butt handed to me and all of it. By the time that year was done, this was an early spring fundraiser. I think I ran 15:45, 15:41, and got myself there. And I just threw myself to the wolves. And for some reason, it was like we have such you're in a major metro area, and I am now too. And like, I think there is a place to race yourself into some sort of position, and the roads are a very safe place to do it. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying you should do it yet, but like, frick, it's the Valentine's Day 5K, and why not get a good effort in? And suddenly you put enough of those in there, and you get in a competitive environment, and the
Yeah.
bug starts gnawing at you more. And so, like, if I were in your shoes, of course you love these beautiful builds, but I think we're past that right now. It's like, I think that would benefit you is what I'm saying. I think it would benefit me, but in particular when you're trying to build momentum
Mm-hmm.
for you. I'm not saying for everybody, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that come springtime, that's exactly what I need to be doing.
Oh, well, wonderful.
I think I need like 12 more weeks of exactly what I'm doing. Sequential baby steps. And then you say, how will I know I'm ready? Like when that 12 turns to 14, turns to finally 20 by 400, and the next day I can go out and run another hour, like, I'll know I'm ready to go try some races.
Okay. So
Like,
that is your intent. Like just get it,
yeah,
and they don't need to be inconvenient. You don't have to fly across the country. Hopefully you can go
no, no.
right out your backyard and run. You might win by 3 minutes in the 5K. Even for some reason, there's powerful that if there's some little park run by your house. I don't know. I I think there's probably great benefit in that.
I have a lot of races written down on my to-do list for next year. A lot of them. Just anything that anyone's doing that I hear about, I immediately look it up and say, "Does that interest me?" And if it's at all yes, I just write it down.
Okay.
And then as soon as my body starts telling me, "All right, let's go test something," I'm just gonna start snapping them up. I don't know when that's going to be, but I have a large list curated of things I'd like to try. Not try, I'd like to do.
Sweet. Okay. Do you want to dream a little? Do you have like, is there, if let's say things go perfectly,
Mhm.
do you have anything that is out there that you want to even talk about or no?
Yeah, I'd love to do going back to our roots. I like where Spartan's going with their courses. I'd love to do this Seattle North American Championship next year and consider even the West Virginia Trifecta Championship.
Cool.
I would love to. One of my goals this year is to be in shape to go really attack the 4th of July 1 mile road race.
Hmm.
That's always a great barometer of my year. And I enjoy running short and fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to get into a fall 5K, and I want to do a Deca doubles and a High Rocks doubles and a Deca, individual and a High Rocks individual. I'd like to do a late season, nice weather, technical ultra. So as I'm watching all these race videos and talking to athletes and clients and writing all these things down, those are the things that jump out at me. I want to run something short and fast. I'd like to run a little bit of OCR, and I want to run technical and long. So perfect season. I look back and say I ran a technical ultra and I could work the whole time. I went out and I competed in the pro field at an OCR or two, and I got to go rip with some friends during hybrid racing.
Sweet. Tricky part is when you're busy and kids' sports schedule and all that
Yeah.
starts playing in and missing stuff becomes like non-negotiable, right? Like that's how you feel about it. Like I would not want to miss something in my kids. It's
Yeah.
like picking like the sport that we love, like it or picking hybrid or picking something like that, like versus a lot of people who are like, I'm gonna run my list of local big road races or something like that. It's like the approachability of what you're outlining can become logistically difficult.
Yeah.
Just because of where your kids' age are more than anything, I think. And then the sports they've chosen to pursue are like occupying.
Yeah. And like Ayla's soccer, Mira's, in gymnastics in our class right now. Those are the kind of things where there's a lot of opportunities to watch them. And if Lisa or I can't make one, it's not the end of the world. But Braden's racing is weird because he can't race if I'm not there. So we've already, he and I have made a list of all the out of town races that we'd potentially do next year, but we're still waiting on his track series to come out. And as soon
Okay.
as that comes out with their 14 race series, then I'll know what my entire calendar year looks like. And then I can say this are opportunities. But until then, I'm just curating a list of races that could be cool because we won't know, I don't think, until like January what his
Um,
actual season looks like.
January is not bad though. That gives you time to
Yeah, and it's
figure
too
stuff out.
I need to be dreaming right now. I don't need to be signing up for things yet. I need to just dream, and that keeps me excited to train. That's a good spot for me to be in right now. It's too early to start committing to events.
If you're healthy and inspired, is it too early to commit to events right now?
No, not at all.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think I realistically, knowing how my fitness builds, I don't think I need to be racing anything hard until April at the earliest. But
That's
for
fair.
someone who's got momentum and fitness, plan out your year.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
your
I think
perfect place to be in next year at this time? What will you have done this year?
hmm. Well, my A goal at the grandma's half last year was to run an hour 10, and my B goal was to win for Masters, and my C goal was to end up on the podium. I did none of those. I took fourth for Masters. I ran an hour 11. I was a minute and 19 seconds short. And I certainly didn't win for Masters. So, believe it or not, I hold a pretty good stock in how that all goes for me. So, I want to have an honest marathon build, and I want to have an honest performance that I believe I'm proud of and indicative of the work I've done. And if I do that, I want to win the Masters Marathon at Grandma's. Last year it was 227 high, I think, won it for Masters. Realm of possibility. I think it went 227, 228, 228, or 229. It's competitive. But that really leads the way for me, actually. Like, the problem with that is that I think I need to get going on this 5K sooner than that. So I got to figure that out. What am I going to do there first?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? In a route. And I think the 5K will feed the marathon, I think,
Yeah.
for me.
But the
You'd agree?
marathon won't feed the 5K.
Correct. And so that's okay. But I just don't. I think the marathon would have fed my 5K if I was 25. It doesn't work that way for me anymore. So I think the sequential order needs to be figured out. I would like to go and maybe take a stab at re-breaking one of my trail course records still. Like, I really still think I have the fitness to maybe lower those times. So I'm not giving up on those. I need to figure out the 5K pursuit. I don't have a concrete plan whatsoever. None. So I think that's it. So at the end of the year, what would be a success is, either way, if I'm sitting here having the same conversation with you at this point next year, and you're saying, Kirk, you didn't go all in again, but I still trained with purpose, which I am in general, I think I would still be, I could live with that. Okay. We'll say, and be happy, but probably not ultimately fulfilled,
Yeah.
which means I probably need to make some more concrete plans. And it seems to just keep going back to the 5K. And part of me that just I hate how much that race hurts. It's scary.
Yeah.
If I'm
It's
going to
brutal.
do it, it is, I don't care what people say. I've hurt plenty in all sorts of race environments. For me right now, chasing that is the scariest thing I could do. And it hurts so bad if I'm going to nail it. It is a miserable for me. Maybe it'll change if I race it more, which is the thing I need to find out. But holy smokes, do I dread it. And so that's the thing. I'm like pursuing something that like I dread kind of, because I know at what cost it comes to me, and it's high. Is that
Yeah.
weird?
No, there are only 3 races that have ever left me sick for the rest of the day. That is the 1 mile, the 5K, and the 50K. A hot weather 50K, emptying my tank, and then emptying the tank fully in a 5K and a mile are the only things that I've felt poison the rest of the day off of.
So 2 out of the 3 5Ks on the track,
Yeah.
I don't think I went to bed till 3:30 in the morning. I was in disarray, felt a bit like unstable, like a little off, nauseous. I
Yeah.
haven't felt that after 2-hour efforts nailing them. I haven't, but put my heart rate at 185 and make me keep it there for 15 minutes for some reason. So I agree with you. Something like the duration coupled with the intensity is just the right mixture.
Yeah. And
So
I
yeah,
also think it allows you to use your skill set naturally. I think that's how the mile is for me, where I think we get the most out of ourselves at those distances where we use all the fitness we have. And it's hard to
right.
do that in a longer race. It's hard to time it right. But you have a feel for the 5K and the mile, and I have a feel for the mile where it doesn't matter what fitness we're in. We can pace it accurately in order to die terribly right in time for the line.
Right.
And that poisons. That is like toxic in your system. It is poison. And it's hard to get that without experience. And I think that's where college track comes back to us is we can hurt ourselves really badly, even out of shape in those kind of events. And it's hard to get up for that, what you know is coming.
But I remember in college, it's like, God, that first mile on the indoor track would always hurt like something else. It was never nailed. I usually ran a little slower than I wanted. I'm like, oh my God, do not want to do this next weekend. That
Mhm.
was just so painful. and then you go do it the next weekend, and it's like a layer of that pain is like removed somehow, and you're like, I mean, it was still a huge effort, and it was parts of it were very trying, and it did suck sort of, but like it was dulled a little bit. And then by your
Mine
third or
didn't.
mine did, and then by the third or fourth of the year, I remember running 354 and winning the race my sophomore year. I think that's the time that ended up getting me in, and I closed and felt like I floated through the finish line. And 2 weeks
Mm,
earlier, it was painful from lap 3, 600 meters on. And so I think there's a component to that too, just exposure. You tell people this in the hybrid racing scene, like,
yeah.
you got to race a few cracks here in close proximity to understand what you're getting into here and how to approach it. And I think shorter races are that way. I think longer races you absolutely can jump into um, without much exposure to them at all in recent history.
Would you
But the
call it
shorter the race,
system shock?
I don't know, Ian. Ian, would you call it a system shock? But you know what I mean? The shorter the
Yeah.
race, I feel like the more frequent exposure you need to nail it. I think you can nail your first marathon because of fitness. I don't know if you can nail your first mile
No.
because of fitness.
Now the 800 dulled a little bit for me as the season went on. I got better at handling it. The mile always just like rubbed my nerves raw.
But what was your A event?
The 8.
Okay. There you
Yeah.
have it.
Either
Yeah.
way, I agree with you that you got to expose yourself to it more to make it better. But the first exposure is so miserable, you don't want the second one.
But you have to. That's where it's the first sunburn hurts the worst. It's the
Yeah.
same theory. I don't know if this was a year in review or more like a pseudo
Ther-
like
Therapy session.
maybe. Maybe. No, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, but I don't think there's a negative spin on this at all. I'm looking at the year with optimism and encouragement, and I think most listening are as well. But I think it's also important to be critical of yourself. What do you really want? What do you really care about? What is really important to you in this space? And did you do what it took to get there? Right? That's a fair conversation to have with yourself.
Yeah. Well, Kirk, I have not obsessively, but with great fervor read all of the information I could find about Safan Hassan's training leading up
Why?
to her trying to triple at the Olympics with the marathon involved in play. Because it's fascinating to me how someone would go about trying to be in 1500 meter shape and marathon shape simultaneously. And they did some cool things in their
So
training.
why don't you outline what she did? Could you?
I'll give broad strokes. Actually, you know what? No, let's not. Because I'd want to revisit it and get it right.
Here's the deal. Safan Hassan decided to run like the 1500, the 5K, and the marathon at Paris. And the marathon was the end cap to her build, right? It was those
Yes.
3 events. And so she had 4 rounds of the 1500 and 2 rounds of the 5K in her legs. And then still,
10K.
and she might have been the 10K, but either way, she did multiple events and then still ended with the end cap of the marathon, I think on the last day, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, which has never been done, I don't think. So it's a crazy. You either pick the marathon and that's about it, or you pick the track and that's about it. But to try to do all is a fool's errand, or so people thought. So that was the premise. So now
Yeah.
tell me what you found out.
Well, I'm not going to hear. This might be an entire training Tuesday, but I think you should read it. And I think that you and I should talk about it because I think they did some really interesting things that would suit your build towards grandma's with a 5K stop or 4 along the way.
You don't want to like hint at some of the
Nope.
stuff.
I think we're
All
going to
right.
do an entire training Tuesday off of it.
Okay. Where do I read this? Where would this be?
I'll send you the stuff I have.
Okay.
But just little teaser there. It was encouraging reading it, thinking that, yeah, you could boil this down to a regular athlete and have some duality with your race readiness.
Okay. What was your favorite shoe of 2024? Got to pick one.
It's the Rebellion Pro 3. I mean Pro 2.
Hmm.
This guy right here. Trail, Salomon S-Lab Pulsar.
And what is it you like about those 2 shoes?
They're unique in their approach to what they do. They have a rocker point in them that fits my foot pretty well, and I just feel fast and they're fun. This VJ Lightspeed would our cameras are in reverse,
Mhm.
would be my close second on the trail.
Okay.
What about you?
So so the Solomon S Lab Pulsar and the Mizuno what version?
Rebellion Pro 2, the 3 just came out, which
Okay.
looks exciting.
Is the Mizuno shoe good for hybrid as well? Would you wear it in hybrid?
Is all I would race in for high rocks. I don't know if I would do Deca yet in it. I don't know how it would be on box step overs, but I don't see why not. For a Deca mile, I wouldn't. For a Deca, I might. It has fantastic. It has the best carpet grip out there.
Okay. I forget though. You brought that to our man weekend. And I forget what the tread looks like on it, but
Let's pull it up.
oh sure, yeah,
Got these
a
little
crisscross indented pattern,
with little teeth on it.
little teeth on it. Yeah.
What about you? Shoe of
Oh
the
yeah.
year.
Shoe of the year. I know you said that I really like running on the roads in my Alpha Flies, and you're not wrong. I still only have run in the rendition one, the first model. I own 3 pairs at the moment. Uh, so I can't speak to the newer models, but I will be purchasing. I've grown more and more of an appreciation for the Vaporfly
Hmm.
on the track
3?
in part. I have the 2 and I have the original.
You have
The
the
3
3 as
isn't.
well.
Do I?
Yep.
Anyways, good appreciation for that shoe. That's grown on me more and more as an aggressive stride shoe.
Mhm.
Like it may be if I want to run 448 pace, that may be a better shoe choice for me than an Alpha Fly. But you got
Mhm.
to get to it. You got to get to your top end, and it sits you on the front of your toes. And the Vaporfly has really come around for me.
Okay.
I think a very strong case could be made if you want to get on the roads, minimal turns, of course, in this shoe. The one that Asics made, the Meta Speed Sky Paris, which you bought for me, I believe, for my birthday,
It might
as
have
you
been
knew I was in a
Christmas last year.
grandma's. I don't know.
Either or.
It took a breaking in period, but if you want to be like straight line running on perfect, let's say concrete or terrain, that shoe, it's durable and single track type running. I was very impressed with it. Turns, it's very tippy, but if you get in the right groove with it, whoa, it actually is a very effective shoe. So Alpha Fly is still going to probably be my number one, but I've only worn them once in the past 3 months.
Hmm.
My alphas for
Interesting.
anything of importance, and it was on Tuesday this week. Otherwise, I'm reaching for other shoes out of curiosity. The one
Mhm.
shoe that I think is a little bit of a disappointment would be the Endorphin Pro 3 that I have. I wanted to love that shoe more, and I don't.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I think there's just better tech out there, shoes that fit my foot better. And then on the trail, um, the speed goats are falling um, out of my top circle. I don't know about you, but the Hoka Speed Goat, it's a serviceable shoe, and I'm going to leave it there. I think that's exactly where it lands. I think for real long stuff, the durability, the Tecton X2 is fantastic. They fixed the first rendition. It's just a really good shoe. In fact, I run it on the road sometimes just 'cause I like how it feels. And if you have a trail shoe that you run on the roads and like how it feels, it's a pretty good sign that it's
Mhm.
probably going to work on the trails. And then I hate to say it, but the low stack height on the Vaporfly makes it an awesome trail shoe if it's not torn up. And I think I'm going to continue to wear it. Even on technical stuff, it's low enough to the ground and it's stable enough where like it works as long as you're not in mud. And so
Okay.
I think my trail shoe of the year is going to be the Nike Vaporfly, which is silly.
Great. I
Yeah.
will give people something to look forward to. First of all, if you haven't watched the videos from the running event down in Texas, go watch them. But VJ Shoes is a company that I complained about on here 2 years ago. I said, I
Mhm.
might just be out on these shoes. They're just not making progress. Great grip. That's it. They took a step up this year. The Max 2 and the Lightspeed are fantastic shoes. And now they're coming out with the Ultra. Technically, it would be the Ultra 3, I think, but it's just the VJ Ultra now. It is basically the Max 2 with double stack height. Super critical foam. I like their foam. It's actual stack now. It's wider than anything VJ in the past. And they strip down the upper a little bit. I think it's going to be an actual serviceable long distance trail racer from VJ. And I really like their foam. I really am liking their uppers now. They might have a lineup for the first time ever that I wouldn't have to stray from for any trail race.
All right. I'll be
Which is
curious
kind of
to see that
exciting.
one through.
And they have a
Hopefully.
new like IROC Extreme Love Child coming out. So you have an OCR shoe, a fast trail ripper, a technical runner, a long ultra shoe. I'm excited for what VJ is doing. And because I've been negative on them, I think they also deserve to hear it when they're doing it right. And I think they're doing everything right now. I have no affiliation.
Not anymore. Do you know that the tread on my VJ Lightspeed is almost down to nothing?
Really? You've been using them?
I use them every week. It's my treadmill shoe of choice on quality uphill sessions.
I didn't know that.
And so every typically Friday is an incline session, and it grabs when there is sweat on the belt. It grabs under every circumstance at any percent grade. And I just choose to wear my VJ Lightspeed on the treadmill at incline. And I've worn it since we got them. And we were gifted those, I believe, to try them out as let's quote influencers in the space. I'm almost past all the nubs to the point it's just like a road racing like Indy car tire. Wow. And it still grabs. It's incredible. That rubber is something else.
I didn't realize you were using that for your uphill shoe.
Every single time. Yep. All right. How do we want to end this thing?
I think the only way that's appropriate. Thank you, everyone who has helped give us another year of doing this. Every single person who listens, every person who shares an episode with a friend, every person who has tried one of our online training plans, every single athlete that we have got the opportunity to work with over the course of the year. Thank you so much. You have given us the opportunity to take the thing out, that thing, not people, but the thing we are most passionate about in our life and do it on a daily basis. And that has greatly improved our lives and the lives of the people around us. So thank you very, very much.
Yeah. And in this space, I don't know if you've been paying attention or listeners have been paying attention, but the market is saturated. There are well over, I mean, we didn't start at the beginning of this podcast game. It had been going on long before we started. There's over double the amount of running podcasts than there were when we started 5 years ago. If you are maintaining listenership and numbers, you are technically growing in a sense. Everybody's numbers are heading down because we have more options to go to and people are diversifying their playlists. And it's a harder space to justify continuing to show up and record for a lot of podcasts. And if you look, there have been a handful in our space who have decided to throw in the towel in the last year saying, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze, or we've had backwards momentum because of the space saturation. I don't know if you've noticed, Brakken, but there's a number that have no more episodes anymore. They've chosen to step away. And we are so far from that because of the interaction, the support, those that hop on the running public training plan, the endless questions we get and interaction that comes through makes us feel like we're part of a family, that like we could never turn our backs on you like some of those other podcasts. Are you kidding me? So I think that's a really big deal to feel part of something bigger. And if nobody gave us feedback, we'd never feel part of something bigger, but we get a lot of it. And so that's my way of saying thank you as well. So thank you.
And I hope to see a lot of you out at races this year. That's always a highlight for me, is when we see you at races and you come up to us. And I missed that this year. So thank you, and hopefully see you soon.
To 2025. We'll see you in 2025.
See you.